Hey everyone! So, today's stream started a bit later than I've expected it to. My kid didn't really want to go to sleep. But anyway, we have stuff to do. The last time we dropped on an interesting point where I was almost done with the camera, but it didn't go as smoothly as I want, and I wanted to do some modifications in there. And honestly, I've spent some time after stream to figure out what was the issue. I've drawn something on a piece of paper, which is way more... You probably can't even see it. Like this. Which is way more convenient than drawing it in Paint. And I've left myself a note that I should explain you what I did and why. And then we'll do a little bit of a cleanup. And when we're done with that, we'll go into our next actions. So, here are the debug values. Let's remove them. To do comment on this on stream. That's what I'm going to achieve. So, the issue with whatever I was doing was the following. When I was calculating where to position the camera next, I would be thinking like this. I would move my camera into the slope. Let's take this as a camera, and I will move it right here, like in some way. There are always options for that, but in general, I would take an arc and I will move it right here till it touches the ground. But then I will calculate, I will take the direction we moved from, let's say it was from here, and I would take this direction, and I would try to calculate the next point that I would hit if I was moving in this direction from this exact point, and I will get some point over here, like some point. Not exactly sure which one, but whichever. Something. Then I would jump up from this point to place the camera into the right position. There are multiple things that are wrong, and yeah, then I changed the jump up into the pitching movement, where I would not just jump the camera with Y coordinate, I will rotate it around current hand position. So there are multiple things that are wrong with this. First, I'm supposing that I'm using the environment that is two-dimensional. So there is no chance that we'll have a slope right here, let's say. Not a single chance. This is not happening ever. Which means I don't have to project this trajectory. I don't have to think about it at all. The only thing I have to think about is where the collision point is from top to bottom. The previous point doesn't make any sense for me. That's what I did. So on the last stream we started using Spherecast, and now I'm just taking somewhere really high above and trying to drag down whatever is happening down below. Also on top to that, if we don't hit anything from top to bottom, means our camera is in some really weird place. In that case, we shouldn't move it at all. We shouldn't adjust its position, we shouldn't do anything weird. We should just stick to whatever we have right now, because something is going really, really wrong. The camera is outside of the bounds, we don't know where to put it, we don't know how not to jump it around, so let's just stay in place. That's why our backward movement position, I've changed it to. Then the second thing about this. When we're... Let me remove all this stuff and draw you a following. Let's imagine we have one position, second position, and we have a point we're rotating around. Let's say it will be this point. Okay, again. It will be this point, so this is our hand and we're rotating around this stuff. And yeah, we're sure that this is happening. Then, if we're rotating around, we're not really changing this Y coordinate. We're doing this motion. We're doing this arc motion. So our end position is very different from the position that I expected. What I was doing is I was calculating this angle, so I would put camera into this position, which is much lower than the one you would expect. It's in here, and I wanted it to be here. So I needed to calculate actually this angle from here to here. So what I needed to calculate is this angle. This angle, not this one. And I actually did that. The thing with this angle is that this distance is totally equal to this distance. This height is something I know already. What I did to calculate that is I drew this line over here and then just used some sine cosine products. So I've taken this arc and I've calculated whatever stuff I know about this arc. First thing I know is that all the distances are equal. It's the radius, it's the distance till the hand. Then I know I can find out this angle pretty easily. I divide height of my initial position and divide it by radius. I get sine product for this, and thus I can calculate the angle pretty much. Then I do the same stuff for this. I know the expected height, I know this length, so I can calculate sine for expected place. And then I subtract one angle from the other, and that's the change that I need to have. That is basically it. I mean, that's the entire trick I did there. And I'm doing absolutely the same stuff for backwards rotation when we're out of the slope. And that's what's happening here. I'm calculating two arcsine products. Then I just calculate the difference, transfer it to degrees from radians, and I pitch by this angle. That's the entire story. That is really, really simple. Then, what I didn't do, and what I should do, is the following. Here we see that this block of code and this block of code is exactly the same. Absolutely same stuff is happening. I'm calculating the new position from the Y jump and Y jump is the same, like is the same squared distance from whichever. And yeah, of course I have this log over here, but I shouldn't do anything in this case. That would mean that something went wrong with my formulas or whatever, but why would I need this? More equal and. Now I should merge those two blocks of code. What I will do is I will find where the difference starts. It starts here with angle. I will say float angle. I'll say for angle equals 0.0f, just 0.0f. Then, if hit point is higher than current position, then we'll do this. Else, if this, we will do this. So now we will have those two pieces of code merged. I need this hit point anyway, so I'm removing this. There is a way for me to not calculate any of this stuff. I will just add one more, not add, or this. So if one of the conditions is right, then I need to calculate all this really hard computational stuff, because square roots, arcsinuses, they're really hard on your processor, and they're not hard on graphic cards, they're really hard on processor. And processor is usually a more weak point for logics that we have. Graphics is for graphic, processing power is for processing, which kind of makes sense. So we've cleaned up the code a bit. Now let's run this, double check that stuff is still working the way it should, and then do a little cleanup of the code. So what has happened? I have a delay between mouse release and the actual time the mouse releases. I don't know why that is happening. It's not related to this thing whatsoever. So we're moving with the slope, returning back, moving again, so everything seems to be smooth and nice, which is good, which is what we needed. And these are rotate angle max plus equals, there was a difference here, I believe. No, this is the negative angle, this is negative angle, and I'm getting max, so yeah, that's good. Now, let's slightly clean up the code. This process collision thing now is not influenced by anything else. We don't care which movement it was, where it started, where it's going to end, nothing matters. Which means we can create, yeah, we can create folder first for PC, then we can create new C# script and call it camera collision processor. Let's open this and just remove this block from here, put it into here. We will see that there are some variables missing. Let's find them out and move them here too. It's private. That's camera collider radius. This is public, and we figured that it can stay at lower values for more smooth movement. So let's make it 1 meter. But it's still public. If something goes wrong, we can always fix this. Rotate angle is something we want to rotate by. 0 equals 0.0f equals 0f. Why 0.0? Whatever. And hands layers, we'll need that. Hands layers. It's actually not hands layers. It's a different story. So let's go to our constants and create a layer mask in there. Const layer mask. What? Cannot be declared. Okay. Static read only. This. So I will need these hands layers for a bunch of stuff. Yay, thank you for follow. Constants.terrain layer. And here I will use I know that it will not be settable from... So if I remove this entire thing, I will not be able to set it from the editor, but I don't care actually to set it up from the editor. And will I use it ever? Yeah, this for hand position processing, that's good. Now, of this stuff here, I'll need the pitch by angle. This is going to be some static stuff. I'll think where to move it a bit later, in a couple minutes. First, I need the previous camera position to be set up properly. Let's do it on update. Let's do it... Okay, late update. Process collision. And regardless, we're setting it up. That's good. The previous camera position is known, rotate angle is set, so everything is set here by this, but this pitch by angle. I probably need something like camera movement script. So I can put the pitch by angle in there, I can put rotate around by there. No, I don't need to put rotate around anywhere. So let's create it into layers and let's call it camera controls. Some basic stuff that we'll need to use anyway. Wow. Public static. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Why it's not highlighting? Come on. Camera controls.cs. Public. Oh, and I forgot it is. I'm sorry for again forgetting to make the code closer so you can at least see it properly. Class called camera controls. Yep. How to using system, using Unity engine. And here I will put this. Public static pitch by angle, and for camera equals should I give it camera or should I use the okay round and goes left equals false, transform equals null. So if transform equals null, then we'll take the main camera. This. And we'll move maximum X rotation and Y rotation into constants. It's not something we will ever need to set up from but it's something we might need. Okay, let's keep it like this. If we'll need to rotate something around some other object, then we'll think about it more. But for now, this is quite good. Process camera pitch angle math mine. Okay. So let's move them to constants and call them max xx camera rotation and min x So those variables are used to limit how far we can rotate the camera, and capitalize those. And here let's adjust it to use the constants dot max x camera rotation and polyconst float max x square max x rotation equals this multiplied by the same stuff, and the same for minimum. I'm using this a lot, so why not create it? Square minus current rotation, blah blah blah. Is min x camera square min x camera rotation, and here it's the difference between them. Maximum square stands square minimum, and again without square, and minimum, and here we repeat the same procedure. It takes some time to adjust all this stuff, but honestly we're cleaning up the code right now quite a lot, because it will be much easier to do something about it after the change. So changing this, max, changing max, and let's just hope I don't make any mistakes anywhere, because that's too much of a change. I mean, I'm just copying and pasting all the stuff around without really getting into what those formulas means, because I don't want to remember. You don't have to always keep in mind absolutely everything. Then here we'll use constants max or less than min x camera rotation. Okay. Pitch camera by angle around hand. And here we'll use pitch camera by angle around hand. And we don't need any parameters whatsoever. And here we'll do the same. Good. Then it's really hard to recalculate back from Euler coordinates to the rotation we're doing to make us rotate exactly the amount to hit the ground, so we are just cancelling the entire rotation if it goes wrong. But we're cancelling the rotation. Nah, that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything. It means that if we're reaching the highest point, then we'll have some slight speed up here and there, but that's such a minor issue that I don't want to spend time on this. Then the camera pitch. Pitch and speed. How do I use it? Angle, pitch and speed by Y difference. Okay, good. Then the second thing I wanted to clean up around all this stuff. Let's double check that everything still works. Let's close this thing and move the PC controls into PC. Then main camera will lose it most likely. No, it doesn't. That's nice. We add a component here, camera collision processor, with everything defaulted out. Apply everything, then what is different? Limiting wheel, rotation wheel, scroll and speed, blah blah blah. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to slightly split the controllers apart. No, I wanted it to be a folder. I didn't want to create a file. So I wanted to have a bunch of different stuff. Public interface what the public interface should have is simple, I think. Should it be interface or an abstract class? Meh. Public void process. Okay, not necessarily public. So we need to initializer, and we need processor, and we need finish. Destroy, destruct. I don't want to use any standard names for this stuff. Then let's create of course .cs, and it's going to be public class camera vision from iCamera controller. So we need to implement this interface, and we can let it do this. So process camera pitch, process middle button, initialize pitch in UI. We have this stuff here. It's initialization. They're out of order, they're in alphabetic order. People who are watching me, could you at least say hi in chat? So I know you're really living human beings. I don't need this is pitching anymore. I don't need process hand position anymore. Input dot is using Unity engine. Then I'll need pitch UI in here. I'll get it moved. What else? Initial mouse position. Okay. Do I need it? I do, because I'm setting this up over here. Good. Then previous diff. The hand.grab. Okay, good. Now to the middle button. Hide pitch in UI. This. It's finisher. Of course I don't need this pitching, because if I'm using this controller means I'm actually already pitching. The word pitch is taken from roll, pitch and yaw, and the proper name would be camera roll-in controller. Let's rename it everywhere. And UI. If I'm renaming stuff, then this is the perfect spot to do this. Okay, not pitching anything. Good. Removing this. And then process middle button, process camera pitch. So here is the processing part for that thing. Here I will use a bit more stuff. I will need a parent over here, but it will always know its own parent. It will always be a part of the PC controls class. Okay. Public controls parent, and we'll say hide in inspector. So we don't want user to set this thing up. It will be set automatically anytime the PC controls is initialized. Let's go here. Yeah, okay, we will set it up. Just trust me. So then we can use transform.rotation. It's this. Then I will need this parameter from here. Let's see, it's 0.3, okay. And it's the same, good. Moving it over here. And pitching knob is a part of a pitching UI. Should remove this too. And here, let's put values before something you set once and never touch again. Let's again rename everything that has to do with pitching. It's rolling knob, rolling UI, rolling speed, parent. All the public classes I'm naming from the capital letter for better styling. Okay, we're done with camera rolling controller. Then now, camera rotation. It's camera rotation controller. It's the same stuff. It's a camera controller. It has different UIs in there. It has wheel image. No. Wheel image, which I should rename, and rotation knob, which I should rename too. Or no, rotation knob sounds good. Then I'm removing this stuff and process camera pitch. This code is written already somewhere else, so removing. Process rotation, here it is. Let's remove this code too. Come on. Get away. I know that that's an error. We put it into process block. I don't need rolling speed over here. I will need parents anyway. I will need the parent anyway. I can actually make it a part of interface. But yeah, anyway, I have to make it here. Whatever. Rolling UI. What is okay? Rolling UI is not limiting wheel 15. Okay, good. Then what else do I have here? Transform.rotate around. Okay, that's parent.transform. Then process camera pitch. Okay. Process rotation. Okay. Initialize rotation wheel. We don't need the process hand positioning here. It's starting up over here. Okay. and remove this. And hide rotation wheel goes here. This capitalized. I don't need is rotating, I don't need is grabbing. But I will need the hand dot grab over here. And I will need the hand dot grab over here too. Yeah, it grabs and then it ungrabs. So each controller knows what it is doing and doesn't know about anything else, and it doesn't care. Rotation sensitivity, good. Rotation sensitivity 0.3, good. The last time when I used Unity, it had this really convenient way to split everything into different classes and then reuse those classes, and I'm actually trying to use that stuff. So I don't need any of those anymore. Process middle button is grabbing, is rotating, process left mouse button, right mouse button, process hand position, regular move, process hand position. Okay, so I'm processing hand position sometimes, not all the time, just sometimes. Which is not nice, but whatever. Do I need the regular move? What is basically the regular move? The hand get position 1 to 2, 2 to 2. So okay, forward. What? Oh yeah, I see. So this is the scrolling processor, and let's make it one more of these guys. Camera scrolling controller, and I'll call it camera scrolling controller, and I will not need anything. It will not have any initialization because there is nothing to initialize in there. I will move this code there. Rolling, scrolling. This. Let's see what it tells me. Mouse scroll wheel axis name. I put it here. Terrible. Terrible. It should be in constants, of course. I'm not sure I will ever use it again anywhere else, but let it stay in constants. What? Is inaccessible due to its... okay, got it. Public. Cool. Then transform.position, as usual, I will need parent. Controls. Parent. Public. So I need it to be public so I can set it. That's the only reason for it to be there. Then I will need the scrolling speed. Is it 5? It's 5. Okay, good. Right now I have no idea what this number means, but I don't care because this stuff just works. And it will have empty finisher. So now I can remove this stuff too. This stuff has 0 references. And this is the... oh, that's nice. So I can do this, and I will not need any parents whatsoever. I mean, I will not need this parent thing over there. PC controls.controls. Good. The less not obvious objects you have, the better your code is. So let's make the code a bit better. 3 places I use this stuff. Oh my god. equals this, and then I will just use it. I'm pretty sure it will not change when this thing is running, because Unity works in a single thread. Everything is thread safe for that matter. Then, okay, we moved stuff out, a bunch of stuff out. Now we need to understand what to do about it. Let's do this. We'll need public equals new camera rolling controller, public rotation controller, rotation controller, and public scrolling we will need private eye camera controller. We'll need this equals scrolling controller. Okay, it is not equal to anything. Then I'm not using this forward direction, right direction, I don't care about them anymore. The awake, if something is wrong with controls, then it's still an error. The current controller by default is scrolling controller. On start we don't do anything, we can remove this block. On late update we should button clicks, but afterwards, after we processed button clicks, we should do the current controller dot process. That's it. That's as simple as that. Then for button clicks, the controllers themselves shouldn't know about which button we're clicking. So let's say the following: if get mouse button down to 1, 0, okay. So if the user clicked the get mouse button 2, then we have two options. Get mouse button, no, if he clicked 1. If he's clicking 0, then controller dot finish current controller equals rotation controller dot initialize. Otherwise we're not doing stuff. What? Ah, okay, yeah, rotation controller. No, something set equals false. It means that we've set something. Then, if he didn't click the mouse button down, he might have released it. If he didn't release it, he might have blah blah blah. Okay, let's just do this. If this happens, then if current controller is not equal to rotation controller, we will finish the previous one and initialize the new one. Then the middle button dominates everything. I'm splitting it into these groups because I will have else's all around the place. Okay, good. Is not equal to rolling controller, then it's rolling controller. And finally, else if it's mouse button 1 and it's not equal to movement controller. Why don't I have movement? Hand, move hand, hand height, screen point array, process regular move, get access. And where is the... If I'm grabbing, process right mouse button, process left mouse button is grabbing, ungrab, hide rotation wheel. Okay. Where is my stuff? I need to think about it a bit. I still need to think about it. So the problem with all this is that I don't see the place where I'm actually processing this stuff. Is grabbing process left mouse button. Where was that? If it's not right mouse button, then process regular move. What is process regular move? It's process hand position. It's just raycast to position the hand in the right place. And it's the scrolling wheel. But where's the camera movement? Oh, I see. No, I don't. That's the only place I use it. I guess something has gone wrong somewhere during this change. Or is it the hand that processes the movement? Oh, I see. So it's the hand that processes this movement. And that's why I'm doing that move hand stuff. Yeah, let's process it here. This, and let's move this logic out of the hand. Because it shouldn't matter if it's grabbing or not, and do some logic if it's not grabbing. I know that I will reuse it. I mean that I will reuse this stuff, but that's a notch too hard. Get access. So it's here. Transform, camera position, position to twice. So this is the current position of... so this is the position of the hand, and this is the old position of that same hand. I'm supposed to pass the new position, so I'm supposed to pass this parameter in there. And that parameter is taken here. process regular move. Process hand position. It's taken here. So it's this raycast. And the raycast is this, and it should be camera.main screen point ray. Okay, this sounds fine. Now this move hand is this logic. And position is hit.point. So I'm calculating how far I'm going to move something, and I will still need it. So it's hand.get position. Camera position is now this. Position, if it's really small, then the new position, then there is this difference. And what do we do with difference? We just add it here. So it's PC controls dot transform dot position equals this. Okay, good. Now we can remove this block from over here. What did I do? I wanted to remove this block, and I will. Good. So if it is grabbing, if it's not grabbing, then we're moving it somewhere. If it is grabbing, then we don't ever move it. That's it. That's as simple as that. Is it? It is. It's actually not. Something like this. Okay, what's up in here? Camera and blah blah blah. Okay, we're doing this already. So this is the movement block, which means that we should do this only if we're grabbing something. We're doing both scroll and not scroll. This is not correct. I'll need both. Scrolling controller, and I will move this out into this scrolling controller, and I will move this out. What's up? Okay, got it. This. And movement controller, camera movement controller. Okay, I don't have any parameters for this. Why would anything interesting happen over here? Yeah, because I'm moving my mouse around the thing. Good. Then this is not used. So if we're clicking middle button, then we're doing this. Else, if we're clicking both buttons, we're doing the rotation. If we're just clicking the simple button, then sorry, 1 second. Okay. If we're doing a single button, then it's movement controller. sorry, this movement controller, and this should be scrolling controller. The scrolling controller should be processed all the time, regardless of whatever is happening. So current controller equals null. If it's not moment, else if current controller is not equal to null, then current controller dot finish current controller equals null. So we're processing all the buttons now over here with this decision making part. We do the question mark dot process, we do scrolling controller dot process. Then we should still be able to place the hand in. Oh, sorry. We should still be able to put our hand into the proper position. Before some of the initializations. So it's finish, then It feels like I'm getting a bit lost over here with too much stuff that I'm controlling. Because I also want now to add the one more controller for whatever, and that's not the right thing to do now. So I have the controller that moves our hand, that moves the hand, that moves the camera when the hand is grabbing, but I also want a controller that moves the hand when we're not grabbing. Let's say none of those controllers should, except this one. This one is just a thing of his own. So if current controller is set to something, then we should not move the hand. Okay, so it means if current controller is not equal to null, then we'll process it. Yeah, okay, let's do this. The movement controller, and we'll say it hand movement controller. And what we'll do here is we will do the hand dot move hand to heat dot point. That's it. This. And we'll call it also public. So let's move parameterless things slower. Public and movement controller and equals new and movement controller, of course. Let's call it hand controller. Okay, so not equal to this, and it's equal to this. Dot and again we will then we don't have to do this, and we don't have to do those validations anymore. slight optimization, I mean not optimization, slight cleanup again. Like this. Then it's not question mark, it's hand controller, and if current controller not equals previous controller, then previous dot finish current dot initialize. So at some point we will ungrab the hand and grab it back in the same frame for this matter. Like we'll move from this into this, and this should be called movement controller, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we can remove all this stuff from here. Okay, so hand movement should be processed like this. I mean, like this, with the possibility for it to hide. But then if it's hidden and we try to grab, then stuff should not work. Okay, good. We should do something like current controller dot is locked or something like that. Bow is locked. And here public bow is locked. Return private bool hand is hidden. It's false. And here it will get false, and here it will get true, and we'll return hand is hidden. And for everything else we will just return false, because that's irrelevant. So now here what we can do is we can say if not current controller dot is locked, then we'll do all this stuff, otherwise we won't. Like this. And finally we can remove all this crap from here. Good, now I have much less code in this stuff and it looks much nicer, and every controller separately looks nicer too, which is something we wanted to achieve. But we still have to test it, and there is one more thing. When we get out from this interaction, and the same as when we get out from this interaction, we don't want to... No, for this it doesn't matter. For this it only matters for this thing. We just want to re-grab the hand, so we'll move out, and here we'll say movement controller dot process hand. So if we're switching whatever we're doing between, we're adjusting the hand position just in case something went terribly wrong. That makes sense. Now we're protected in this case, and we're protected in everything. Good, let's see what went wrong after our latest change. No way. So it's Unity show class in inspector. Subclass public variable CPU in inspector. That should be just a really simple system.serializable. This. Don't care about this one. We care about rolling. Oh, it's already this late. Oh. I didn't notice that it was becoming this late already. Okay, now it should pop up. Yep, that's what we see now. Good. But we need to rename this stuff. Rolling bar. Nope. Rotating wheel. Nope. Limiting wheel. Good. And let's put it into the right positions. Rolling. Rolling knob. Rotating. Rotation knob. Scrolling speed, camera collider radius, everything else seems to be perfectly fine. Let's see that it still works. This thing does, the grabbing doesn't. Why would it? Given that here in the movement controller I didn't set hand.grab, the hand.ungrab, and for some reason it just didn't switch into anything. And it's not locked ever. Am I right? Yep, I'm right. Good, so let's try this again. Okay, I missed some buttons somewhere, so this should be 0. That explains a lot. Where the hell am I and how did I end up here? Oh, so I'm looking from the upside down. I don't know how I got into that state. That doesn't really matter. Let's play this. Okay, so now this is moving. I don't know what the delay is about. What is happening? Why is the delay? As if I'm holding mouse button longer than I expected. Okay, this thing bugs out. Why does it? Transform assigned position for main camera is not valid. I should not assign camera main transform. Okay, good. Then let's do this. PC controls.controls.position .transform. No? What? In position is not valid. What's wrong? The right angle. and it comes from the rotation controller, which signed angle from debug.log $sign angle like this. Let's see why this is happening, because I was expecting everything to work smoothly, but apparently it doesn't for some reason. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong place right now. I need this. And here is a lot of stuff happening around here. Okay, so this is the place where I could have done something wrong. And I could have done something terribly wrong. So, if we're after the middle, then we're taking square root of maximum rotation minus current rotation. So it should be minimum here. And that should fix the stuff. Why is there a delay for my input? I don't understand that. Yeah, now it's smooth and good. And now we're moving here, moving there, we're dragging, we're dropping, and we have the adjustment of position, I hope. Is it so smooth that I cannot even notice this? I don't believe it. I don't trust that, I don't trust that. Come on. Though it might be smooth. I mean, I'm doing something. Okay, so it didn't bring back the position for some reason. Let's double check why it might have happened, but let's not to think too much about it. 0 rotate angle minus so if something, okay, got it, oops, from angle is more than constants really small, then we'll do something. Otherwise, of course, my awesome rotation, backwards rotation, doesn't work at all. There is a heavy input delay, and it's not from my code. I wonder how this is happening. Okay, good. Now it's fine. Unity 2020 input delay. Heavy input lag. Measuring and reducing input lag. Do they show the frames per second meter over here? This just looks really weird. Like I'm clicking and then it processes the click some when, not at the point when I click. Input to get mouse button to okay, let's do this. So if it's down, then we're doing this. But if it's up, no, I don't want to process that. I'm just thinking what happened for this to start happening at all. I was doing a bunch of changes, but everything is still in late update. Let's move it to fixed update, and let's see what will happen then. Things get worse. I mean, this is just terrible. I start a click and then in a couple seconds it actually captures the click. How can this happen at all? Sometimes it just reacts right away. Okay, so it reacts to the left mouse click with a heavy delay. But for anything else, there is no delay whatsoever. Yeah, that's right. It sounds like something is wrong here. Camera, screen position, alt position, the hand, get position. It might be locked by whatever reason. Let's check this. This, and let's remove this log. Okay, this is not the case. Yeah, of course. This is good. What? Why is this happening? We're here. Let's check it again. So yeah, it doesn't even enter that block at all. So yeah, there is this lag. You see that the object lags behind. Stats, please. 99 FPS. But this thing lags behind. Lags behind. Let my mouse out. Stop. Okay, this is obviously Unity bug, not mine. Because I wasn't able to press pause for some time. I hope it will get fixed. Good. Now let's check in this stuff. It's GitHub. Slightly refactored controls and done with camera. Yeah, I'm working directly with Master Branch because I'm the only contributor in there right now because it's a private repo. so who cares? And I'm fine because GitHub has the tracking what is happening there. Okay, now let's look at this. Process collisions with camera done. 1 second. Okay, never mind. Controls for PC done. Put something interactive in there. I've seen a request to walk through my actions plan, which I will do right now. Then I will create some tasks over here, but we'll create more. Actually, I will not create any steps for this. I will create them on the next stream, or I will create them offline and then I will add them on the next stream. We will see how it works out. So the initial plan was really simple. I'm creating a prototype on PC for the game that will target something else. That doesn't really matter because everything we care about right now is PC. So we created the Unity project, which below meant creating the repos, creating the project, setting up some terrain, like some really basic stuff we're going to play around with. No coding, no hard stuff. Then we need to create the controls for PC, because we have a pretty difficult control scheme. Yay, thanks Chibi. Never mind that message. Okay. The controls on PC. So it included the entire control scheme we had. We played around with camera, we played around with buttons, what they do and why they do that, something like that. Yeah, High Spirit. So we are supposed to use English in chat room, but right now, as you can see, there is no one in the chat room, so you can use whichever language. Also, if you're more comfortable with writing Russian than English, I can translate your questions to other people. That's not a big deal. So I'm talking English, but if you understand me well enough, then you can use whichever language you want in chat. So then we create the controls. Then the next step is to put something interactive in there, like some tree or rock or something, because we need to add extra layer to our controls. We need to start moving stuff around. We not only move the camera, we want to do something. Then next step will be to create some spells, like something simple, something with particle systems, something shiny and beautiful, probably some fireballs, so because they will influence our interactive stuff a lot, and they will influence everything down below quite a lot. So anything destructive, we'll need to think about it right here. Anything that we'll have in the prototype at least. Then we'll create something that grows. I mean, trees, plants, some stuff like that. The tricky thing about them is first they're interactive. Wow, you're also streaming Unity development. I cannot open your stream right from the chat. I will come to your channel right after I'm done with this stream, which will happen in like 10 minutes. That sounds awesome. I thought that's a rare thing that people are streaming game development. I thought people are doing video logs, devlogs, but not more. That's cool that other people are doing this too. So, creating something that grows is just cool. So to create something that grows, we first will need to invent something that happens over time. Second, we will need to be able to destroy it with fireballs that we have created before. We need this stuff to be interactive, and we probably need to, you see, field gather water. So it can grow in some conditions, it can not grow in some other conditions, it can be destroyed. So a bunch of extra interactions on top of the previous layers. Then there were different options, different ways to go. First is to start creating people and logics around them, and second is to just create animals, which are simpler but are also necessary part. So with lambs and sheep it's a bit easier because they are more passive, they are walking around and eating, probably breeding, but that's not a big deal. With wolves it gets more AI-ish, because wolves they don't eat plants we've created above, they eat actual sheep. Stas, I think I remember you, and I think I visited your streams when you were streaming when you were playing games, but you were not yet developing games. And I rarely go into the newsfeed in Vkontakte or in Facebook, because those are flooded with weird stuff, and I'm not sure I have enough in me to actually go through all that. So I know that you were streaming, but I don't know that you're streaming game dev now. Of course I remember you. You're one of the awesome guys. Honestly. Then, okay, so back to the plan. After animals creation, we'll go to people and the more heavy AI systems. First we'll add so-called warehouse. This is the place where people in our villages will store resources. It's just food and wood, I believe, but it's also the thing that will show that the village is here, like the village cannot exist without this thing. And the good thing is that warehouse should know what is necessary, like if the village lacks food, if the village lacks wood, and it will be a controlling point that tells other villages what they should do, more or less, like what their priorities are, I think, but we'll come to that when we reach this point. Then we'll add a person that interacts with the warehouse, that can gather some food, put it somewhere, that can eat the food, that needs something and does something with it. Then we'll add more buildings for the person to live in, for the person to create its own farms, maybe something else, I'm not yet sure. Here, house to begin with. That's it, not more comments. The stream when I created all this stuff was dropped by Twitch because I didn't set the button, so now I'm again repeating this. Then we'll add more people with the same logic and see that it all works, and then we add a belief system, because we're making a god sim, and that's the way we interact with villages. Afterwards we will be able... Thank you for the good luck, thanks. We'll add the belief system, and that belief system is the point around which the entire prototype will be rotating, because we'll need to set up several villages, we'll need to be able to make them believe in you, we'll need to get them under our control and things like that. So this is basically the entire plan for the prototype. Of course, afterwards, design prototype map. Prototype scene, because we will not be able to use this scene for the entire prototype probably, and we'll need to place things on the scene anyway. That's the entire plan. Okay, so next stream will be about some interactions. We'll add interactive stuff like rocks or maybe even trees, and we'll try interacting with them, and we'll see how it works out. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a good day. Bye bye.